Hey everyone, Shark here with a video about tips on how to clear the Imaginarium Theater. Someone from our YouTube livestream gave a very generous super chat for me to make this video, and I thought that most people have already done the Imaginarium Theater by now, but apparently it's still giving some people a headache, which is why I'm going to break down the best strategies to tackle this round of the Imaginarium Theater. I'm going to cover each stage of the Visionary mode, the hardest difficulty, step by step, but I want to talk about some general strategies that will help since the three elements for this theater, Cryo, Hydro, and Geo, are not that great. So let's cover general strategies first. Tip number 1, you don't need Stella, the stars, for this version of the Imaginarium Theater because you cannot get the bonus items. That will be in the next theater, so you don't need to go for stars here. Tip number 2, there are a few bosses and stages where specific characters really shine, like Nuvolette against the Wyab or Navia against Mechanical Spider and Legatus bosses. We'll cover those more as we come to them though. Tip number 3, when you first start, you don't want to use your strongest characters right away. You will need them for the middle and later stages, so it's better to use your weaker characters in the first few stages. Tip number 4, use as many characters as you can. This is probably obvious, but not only does having more characters give you more options, but you also get a greater HP attack and defense buff for every character that you have. Tip number 5, along the same lines as tip number 4, you don't want to replace weaker characters that you have with a stronger version of them from a friend. It's better to use another character that you don't have, number 1 because it gives you more options, and number 2 because it gives you a greater overall bonus. Tip number 6, as you go through theater, you will get the choice of either getting another new character or getting a specific elemental blessing, and you want to go for more characters in the beginning stages and then get the blessings more in the later stages. This is because you end up running out of characters really fast, and if you don't refuel or restock the amount of characters you have, you're going to run into a very big problem because there are certain characters that you really want for specific stages. And if you burn through those specific characters too early, then you're going to have a really bad time. So that's why it's really important to get a lot of characters early on, so you don't burn through a lot of the characters that you need at the later stages too early. Tip number 7 is to avoid random fights that incentivize using a specific element in order to counter that stage. Several of the fights in between bosses may say things like, Hydro has an advantage, or Geo has an advantage, but the randomness of the Imaginarium Theater makes it really hard to predict exactly what you'll need because you don't know what characters and blessings you're going to get next, and you don't know when you're going to get them either. And you don't want to be locked into using certain characters if you can help it, because the boss stages are basically going to do that already. The final tip I want to share with you before we go over each stage step by step is about character choice. You can choose one character from a friend to help you in the Imaginarium Theater. Navia has been my go-to choice for doing the many theater runs that I have, as she is really good against 2 of the bosses. But Farina is also a very good choice if you don't have her. Shalonen is also a good choice for the last boss, but by that time you should have enough blessings that you won't really need Shalonen that much, so I would recommend picking Navia or Farina instead. And if you don't have any friends with these specific characters, you can join our Discord and ask for help there. Just say what region you play in, whether it's North America, Europe, or Asia, and that you're looking for friends to borrow a character for some Imaginarium Theater help. The link to our Discord is in the description below. So with those tips in mind, let's go through each stage step by step, and I'll give you tips on how to beat each one of them. So let's do our performance prep and go through Visionary mode, the hardest difficulty. So we're going to use our Nuvolette because they're stronger, and then these characters because they're actually leveled up, and I have them. And yeah, alright, let's go. So yeah, we don't have Hu Tao, or Kaveh is too underleveled, so we'll pick Venti. We'll just pick all these characters so we get as much bonus as we can, and then we've got 2 slots left. So let's look through our supporting cast and see someone who we don't have. Well, we've got Ito there, although I don't have Navia, so let's choose her. Oh, we also have our newly acquired Escoffier, so let's add her. And then we can look here and it says that we've got we got a bunch of Hydro, a lot of Cryo, a lot of Geo. We've got a lot of support, but not a lot of on-field damage. So I think what we'll try to do is look for a nice Navia. Let's take a look at her. She's got 2400 attack, A little bit low for crit rate for Navia. I definitely want her with like over 75% if possible, because not getting a crit with her feels really bad. Her C1 doesn't really help that, her C2 does. Titra, let's see. Let's look at your Navia. 2562, that is even lower crit rate. Let's see. Well, there's me. 2495. I think we're probably using that one. Hu Tao doesn't really do too much here because you have to use Hydro unless you're trying to do a melt Hu Tao, in which case you're only getting like one melt off, so she's not really that good. C6 Ito. I was actually kind of unimpressed at Ito here compared to what Navia can do, even at C6, which is kind of crazy. So you know what? Let's just go with our Navia using two-piece, and Verdict. So yeah, we'll go with her. And now we don't have any extra character we could add. I guess we could do Mualani or Rosaria, and we might as well because we're going to get extra Fantasia, and then we're going to increase our HP, attack, and defense, and elemental mastery. So yeah, that bumped us up from 4800 HP, 300 attack and defense, and 120 EM to 6400, 400 attack, defense, and another 160 EM. So pretty good there. Not a lot of on-field damage as it says, but honestly, I don't really want to use Mualani in a non-vaporized team, so this looks like a solid enough lineup, unless we want to replace someone like Goro with... you know what? We might as well replace Goro because he's really helping Noelle, and that's kind of it. And if we do this, now we get a little bit more even spread. So now there's our on-field damage, plenty of support, 7 Hydro, 10 Cryo, 7 Geo. So pretty solid mix there, nothing in the red. So let's go to challenge. Alright, start. 8 blessings. So now all... Ooh, and an extra 120 Fantasia flowers. So that is really helpful. The extra Fantasia will help us get other characters. We can get blessings. In the beginning, we want to get as many extra characters as we can. Mualani or Yelan. I'm gonna pick Mualani here.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Free mystery cache. I can't avoid the allure of this. Run span. Okay, special guest star. You know what? I'll pick this one. Kooky, fine. Not super helpful, but you know what, why not? Companions cost 10 fewer. This makes both of them cost 70. I think early on this will be worth it. And then we just have that there. We might as well pick this one up because we do have a lot of Geo and Cryo. And we get level 2. Now we have to make a decision on whether we want to go for this or just save. We could get a second level blessing, but with the Fantasia that we get from each stage, I think instead we just go for a fight, and then we get the extra Fantasia and try to get an extra character or two if we can. So of these, we don't really want to do anything with the YOBs. These are things that we have to try and counter with certain elements. We would much rather do these types of fights against the Ruin enemies. They're not very difficult. They're really big bodies. They take a lot of AoE damage, so we're going to choose this one. These are both larger, not very threatening. These are kind of annoying because they can jump around like the Ruin Cruisers and Chasers, so let's go with these things. The most they're going to do is just back up. Ruin Guards, Ruin Graders. A little bit annoying that the Ruin Graders will charge you, but they're honestly very easy to take out. So, with this start, we can do... Honestly, we're probably going to do these 4, the trial characters. They are not super well built in general, and we probably won't need too many of them, like Kachina, Candace, not really super useful. Albedo can be useful, and Ayaka is definitely useful, but I'm going to use these 4 and then maybe Mualani for the next round. This gets us some Cryo, some Hydro, some Geo, a little bit of everything, and we can go here and just attack these enemies. Again, we don't really need the stars here, so we're just going to fight them. Start off with the big one, and then just use a bunch of skill and burst. We don't need Albedo's burst. We'll start with some Aya, get some dash, and then charge attack with her for some extra Cryo. We can reuse Albedo's skill, just for a little bit of extra damage.
Take flight.
And then if we want, we can use Candace's ability and then just normal attack with Ayaka for a little bit of freeze to keep that thing still. Then now we have Kachina's stuff back, and just Ayaka some more. Charge attack. And plenty of time, we still got the star, even though we don't need it. Alright. Because of the mystery effect, we don't get another character, which is okay. Now we can choose another Hydro character, though. So let's pick someone here. Mona or Farina. Farina's very good for later stages. We don't really need her now. I figured we were going to take Mona. Just more or less for fodder. We've got another thing for another companion. We either have random or cryo. So we would like to get someone like Navia for floor 3 for the spider boss. So let's go in here. Oh, Chiori, we can take her for that boss. That'll be nice too. We still have enough to get another character. I don't think I want to use this right now. And so here we've got Geo characters have an advantage. We don't want to do this. We don't want to burn our Geo characters, and we kind of want to avoid anything that says X characters have an advantage here. We want to do things that give us more opportunities to fight with anything that we want rather than using a specific character of a certain element. So here Hydro characters have an advantage. We probably want to not do that either. So yeah, it seems like we'll do this one. These enemies can be a little bit annoying because they do move around a lot, but they're pretty easy to take care of. So let's go for this stage. And for our team, we could do the same thing again. I think I'm going to use Mualani instead, though, and still put maybe Kachina and Albedo here, or maybe use someone else. We could use Kuki Shinobu here. She'd be alright. We don't really need Candace at all. Charlotte is nice for the Wyab because you need to heal for that boss. So we'll probably save her. I think we'll do Mualani, Candace because whatever. Maybe save Albedo for the spider boss, Kachina, and maybe Kuki Shinobu. I think this will be fine. Again, we don't really care about any of the stars or anything. A little bit of AoE damage would be nice, but it's not that important here. And now we just Shark. 1, 2, 3, all marked. Fight, Shark Chomp, and use burst at the end. Just try and finish these two off. And now we've got these here. I'm going to aim for this one first because this is the ranged one, so we want to keep them kind of together so we can AoE both of them. So we'll aim for this one with the slingshot looking weapon first. And try and get her down. Candace. Kachina's not ready yet. And now Mualani. 1, 2. Oh, we're good. Chomp. And here we go. So now Candace and Kachina are done. We got 1 vigor point each for Mualani and our Kuki Shinobu. And now we have Ganyu or Escoffier. So Ganyu for charge shot would be nice. Escoffier is really not good, or she's not that good this theater because she really does want to be with a lot of Hydro and Cryo characters. You're unlikely going to use her in a full scenario like that. I like that she has off-field damage. So I think I'm going to pick Ganyu here. We're either going to do Ganyu or Escoffier and then like some sort of Mona team. What do we want? This becomes a little bit difficult and tricky because you don't know what's coming next. We know that we're going to fight the spider boss next. Ganyu's not going to do too much there. So we have to think about what we're going to do afterwards. And I think we choose... Got Nuvolette, Ayaka. I think we choose Ganyu. She will be good enough. Oh wow, these are all just blessings, huh? Well, let's go with Freeze. We'll take that first. Next, we got a random companion. We'd like Navia or Zhongli. That'll help break the shield faster. So let's go for one of these. Diona or Layla. Neither one is actually very helpful. We'll go with Layla though, because she's a higher level and her shield is going to be stronger than Diona. I don't think I'm going to need the healing so much. And now we don't have enough for any of these blessings. We'll just save those and fight this thing. So now Geo characters and plunging attacks have an advantage. Now we have a choice on who we want to go for. Catalyst and bow plunging attacks don't really do much of anything. We definitely want to bring Chiori here, so I'm thinking Chiori Albedo, probably Ayaka, and then maybe a random Kuki Shinobu as well. I think that'll be fine. So let's bring in Ayaka, because sword plunge attacks will actually do things. You for a little bit of geo damage to break stuff. And then Kuki, because why not? So here, we'll start with Albedo. Just use his burst just to try and break that shield a little bit. Then a little bit of Kuki for more stuff. We'll save Ayaka's burst until the shield is down. And the nice thing about using Chiori here is with Albedo, his skill is considered a Geo Construct, so we do get 2 of them. And let's pull it back out. Now it shields back up, so we do it again. And now we can just plunge attack with him to break the shield a little bit faster. Luckily swords have a pretty quick plunge. Ayaka's burst is almost up. There we go. Let's use Chiori again. Replace this. Use her burst. Random Kuki Shinobu, because why not? And then just start with Ayaka, charge attacks. And there we go. Alright, next. Zhongli or Diona. Now Zhongli is very good for the Legatus boss later. Diona is really not super helpful here. She's kind of just a fodder character. So, you know, we're going to go with Zhongli. Free mystery cache. I can't ignore the allure of the mystery cache. 1 is going to be companion random. Early on, this is pretty good because we do want more characters. Blessings are not quite as important as getting a lot of characters. So the more characters that we have, the more flexibility we have with team building. And it lets us save characters like Nouvelette for later and Zhongli for later. And we've got Noelle for the Legatus boss too. So we can either go with Noelle as damage or with Citlali for a shield. Citlali is really helpful for the later stages. We don't really fight too many Night Soul enemies this Imaginarium Theater, so let's go with Noelle for on-field damage. And now we have enough Fantasia that we can get another character, so let's do that. Now we got Navia or Farina, and this is a very interesting choice. I think I'm going to go with Navia. She is really, really useful for the Legatus, and then we can use her on another stage if we need to. In general, though, I'll probably just use Noelle in place of her as an on-field damage dealer for the time being, because Noelle will be good enough for these stages. So let's choose Navia, and then Farina is going to be very, very good too. And then we got Defense Sequence. Alright, here's a Night Soul related thing. We can not do that if we don't want to, and then there's some Eremites. How many of these do we fight at once? Because this would actually be decent for Mualani. Hunter Seeker. I don't know how much damage these things will do to a monolith though, which is a bit concerning. Though I feel like we can actually bait them to not fire against the monolith. We're going to try this, and we're going to try Mualani here. I have not done this before, so I don't know exactly how the AI for these enemies work, but we're going to find out live. Okay, so let's go with Mualani for her Night Soul ability. We use Layla for a shield, because why not? We probably want to save Navia. Ganyu's not really too much of a big deal. We can use Mona for some extra freeze, and maybe just Ganyu AoE. Either her or Noelle, but I think we'll save Noelle maybe for later. I think this will be decent enough.
Off we go.
So we'll start. Use this. Random Mona to taunt you. Ganyu. So it looks like we only get maybe 1 at a time, which is going to be nice. 2, 3. Chomp. And then just do this. Have some Night Soul line damage here. And please focus on me. The nice thing about these stages is you can also use weaker characters, as long as you can get the attention of the enemies and get them off of the monolith. This one you can take a lot of time in here, like I don't want to fight in that area, because these things can do a surprising amount of damage. So we're just going to try and keep them frozen. And for these leyline stages, freeze is also really nice, just because it keeps the enemies locked down. They don't do anything, and then you can just run the clock out. Because this whole stage is just, can you beat this within the time frame before the enemies break the monolith? So here, we can literally just use Ganyu and Mona, and just keep attacking. Now, if you do get one of the stages where it's a monolith stage that gives you more Fantasia, and it says something like high intensity battle or something to that effect, then the enemies might just randomly spawn even if you just keep them locked down. In these regular stages though, you can just keep the enemies frozen kind of forever.
The night is cold.
Whoops. That wasn't right. Oh no. Well, now you're frozen. Okay. Here we go. Use this. Mona, why not? Try to keep your attention on me. We've got 2 taunt skills in both Mona and Ganyu. Taunt skills don't really work very well in Genshin, but you know, if it takes one attack away from the monolith, it's helpful. Because these things will do quite a lot of damage to it, so you have to be kind of mindful of that. But everyone we beat, I think, reduces the timer by 15 seconds. So we can just wait here until it's at about... Oh, it's even more than that. Well, there we go. GG. Next, we got Venti or Xingqiu. Let's see who we have and take an inventory of who would be good. So Venti is good against small enemies and grouping them up. Xingqiu is going to be good with normal attacking characters, so Navia, Zhongli, Noelle, Charlotte, even like Chiori, Mona, and Layla if we're putting them together, but not with Neuvillette. So who and what do we use? We've got 2 stages for the next bosses. I think if we're not fighting really heavy enemies, then Venti would be a good choice. Later on in the stages, somewhere around this stage or this stage, I believe, one of the fights are 2 flying ruin drakes, like the sky drakes. So Venti can be nice to shoot them down, but honestly those are pretty easy, so we don't need to worry about that. I think we'll take Venti for the chance to get some... Oh, slimes? Yeah, Venti versus slimes, nice. Okay. And now we only have 1 blessing here. We can still get more companions. I feel at this point, at stage 5, we still go for more companions. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 left, and we got 5 stages. So if we get another companion here, every stage from now on we'll get the rest of our companions. So I think this is good, and then afterwards we can start focusing on blessing some more. So we got Yelan or Xingqiu. Both are good choices. I'm going to go with Yelan because my Yelan has Fav, which will help everyone's energy. Xingqiu has Sacrificial, which is really only going to help Hydro characters. So let's go with Yelan. Don't have enough for any other blessing. Now this is interesting. We got Rift Hounds, which are terrible enemies, but they are the Geo-weak Rift Hounds. And then we got Slimes. Hydro Cryo Slimes. So... let's see, we're probably going to swirl more Hydro than the Pyro, because these Hydro Slimes will always have their Hydro Aura on, but the Pyro Slimes don't get it until they actually turn into like the molten version of themselves. Even though Pyro has a higher priority for swirl, we're not really going to get them that often. So Venti actually would do pretty well here. He would do okay against the Rift Hounds if we brought a Freeze team. And if we did that, you know, this looks like a good place for almost like a typical Morgana team. I think I'm going to do that, because Freeze does super well here. The next fight, we're going to need Charlotte, but we shouldn't really need her too much after that. So I think we bring Charlotte here, and Venti and Mona, and then we just have 1 character left. And I think we bring Noelle. So you don't really apply that much cryo. So maybe we want to sub in someone else instead. But I think with Noelle's bonks will be good enough. So yeah, let's just try this. This I think will go well enough. So there. Now those have the Pyro on them.
Think you can get away?
Let's bring them all together. Mona them. Charlotte. And Noelle bonk. Oh, and this is also defeat 30 enemies. Alright. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Venti. Do this. Mona. Charlotte. Bonk, bonk. Now we've got our tornado back. Put you together. It's not going to do anything here. Random Mona. Add our energy. Charlotte. Noelle bonk. Doesn't look like we are going to have enough damage to get the star here. I don't think. But we should still pass the stage just fine. So we do Mona. Charlotte for some more energy. Venti, pull everything in the center. Noelle bonk a few things too. There's a shield. More Charlotte just for the cryo application. Mona. Venti. Now your energy's back here. And now another Noelle. Bonk, 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 bonk.
Let's play. Smile. Hard-hitting it.
Having someone like Rosaria, so Venti gets to roll inside of her burst would be really nice here. Fortunately, we don't have her,
Think you can
so
get
she
away.
might come later. There we go. Charlotte.
Steady as stone.
We got 20 seconds left, and we're definitely going to be able to beat the floor, but
Let's play.
being able to get that 30 doesn't seem likely.
Let me scrub. Fate is
That's
upon
okay.
me.
We don't care, we don't need the Stella, we don't need the extra stars. If this were another version of Theater in the future, I might retry this for another star, but honestly this is fine. Alright. Next. Now we got Shalonen or Farina. Shalonen's really nice for the last stage, but honestly Farina's just very, very valuable. I think getting her now would be really good. Okay, Companion Random 6. We're gonna get characters here. I don't think we really need to do this. I'm gonna try and go for more blessings now, so let's go for this Hydro Cryo one. And level 2, level 2. So we can either get another companion or another level of blessing. Let's see who we have. Is there anyone here we really want? I don't think so. Well, you should have enough for the Wyob. I'm gonna go for the freeze blessing again because I like these. When your cryo character triggers frozen, dealing AoE hydro damage once every 6 seconds. While this is active, I don't know what this is. What does this do? Cryo and hydro crit damage is increased. Well, this affects more characters, and then it also does res shred. So let's grab this one. Free mystery cache. The Allure. Blessing costs 10 per, your companions cost 10 more. I think this is worth it now. Ooh. Oh, we don't have enough flowers for that. This is probably worth it because it'll bring the blessings back down to 60 instead of 70. We don't really need companions as much, so I think we'll grab this one. So now these are 60 and those are 80. Alright, let's fight this Wyob. This is a unique boss. It is based on a local legend, so some people might have a lot of confusion as to fighting it. Basically, we need to heal a lot, and this is where you want to save your Nouvelette. You don't really want to use him before here. I like Nouvelette for this stage and then like the later stages. So Nouvelette's really good here, and then any healers are nice. So I'm going to bring Charlotte. We could bring Farina. I think I want to save her for later stages, and then anyone else who's going to help with like any potential damage. Venti would be okay. Ganyu's not going to be too bad here. I think maybe we bring you for the shield, and then we could bring Farina for extra heals in case Charlotte's burst isn't up, but my Charlotte is built with a lot of energy recharge, so that shouldn't be a problem. Zhongli can go in several different stages. He at least has some res shred, so I think we do Layla Farina. This will be plenty. And so what we do is we just kind of do things as we would normally. This thing has like 11 million HP or some ridiculous number, so we just kind of do everything. Save Charlotte's burst or your general healer's burst if their burst is tied, or if they're... Whoops. Also, this thing does a lot of damage to you, like half of your health, so kind of be mindful of that when it does its little summony thing and summons the other Wyob. So we'll do this. Use Farina.
Settle down. The tides beckon.
And just do this for a little bit. Absorb. Oh, I wasn't fast enough. Alright. We'll try this again. And we don't really need to do too much damage to this, because most of our damage is not actually going to come from us. It's going to come from this other Wyob that gets summoned. So instead of using Farina here, there we go. Let's use this, and now, Farina. So now we have this thing. We're going to do all this, summon as much as we can, and now switch back. And now Hydro Cannon. With Nouvelette and against this boss, it is kind of hard to tell where it's actually attacking. So we kind of got to be mindful of that. We don't want it attacking our little friends, because that's what's going to do the most damage for us. But Nuvolette is also kind of blocks your. Here we go. Let's heal. Kind of blocks your viewpoint just a little bit. Oh no. Boop. But because Nuvolette heals so much of his HP, he ends up being really nice for this fight. Now we can switch Farina back, let this thing do its damage. Charlotte. Boop. And there we go. Alright, next. Chongyun or Kaya? I did a video with Chongyun and Escoffier that was very fun, though my Chongyun is not very well built. Kaya is definitely a lot better built than he is. Rare mystery cache. Ooh, the allure. Usually this will give you extra Fantasia, so I think it's worth going for the mystery cache. 20, 60, or 90. 67% at 90. So at the worst we lose 20, otherwise we gain 20 or 50, so this seems worth it to me. Alright, we gained 50, perfect, and now we can go for more blessings. So let's go for a freeze evolution, a random companion here. We're gonna get 90 there. I think it's probably worth it to get a random character, just at the very least, even if they're not that good, we can use them to fill out our roster. Xingqiu, however, is good. And now 60, we don't have enough for this one, but we can either fight the Consecrated Beasts, gross, or these random floaty boys, which is also fine. Bow characters are nice here against the Ruin Hunters, but they really don't fly up that often. And if they do, they spawn right at the start, so I would just restart if they fly directly up in the air. You don't really need a bow character here. So we got this, and then we've got this for Navia. We can also use Navia maybe there. So I think we bring Noelle, maybe Noelle, Xingqiu, Yelan, and Kaya or something. That looks solid. Then we can use Navia for the next 2 stages, and then we can use Farina Nuvolette, and we'll be golden. So let's bring in Noelle with double Hydro and Kaya. This looks fun. So we'll start with this. Xingqiu, Yelan, going into Xingqiu, going into Noelle. We'll throw in Kaya back here too. More freeze, more bonk. And for these, I typically go to this Ruin or Skyguard first. Sometimes this one flies over, sometimes it has like a little bit of a delay, but usually this one will come kind of close. And then we can just fight both of them together. But if you only have to fight one at a time, it's not such a big deal. Bonk, bonk. Kaya. Luckily, Xingqiu and Yelan can both hit them in the air, even though Noelle sometimes has a bit of an issue. And our damage is very much enhanced from the blessings we're getting now. Now we got Chongyun or Escoffier. Sorry, Chongyun, as much as I love you, Escoffier is much better. Alright, and now we can either get the final level of freeze, or we can start with the Hydro and Geo bonuses. And I think for the Legatus specifically, this is going to be a little bit more useful. So when this is active, Stone Shatter, blah blah blah, dealing Geo damage once every 4 seconds. What does this do? When Geo is healed, we used up Noelle. We're not going to be healing a whole lot, so let's just go with this one instead. And we can get another one, another Hydro Geo. Might as well here. Alright. And we only have 15. Alright, Legatus time. Geo characters have an advantage. This is a great time for, we're going to essentially be running a sort of mono Geo team. We're going to use these 3. They're going to break the shield really fast, and now we just have to figure out which character we want next. Do we want a Cryo character or a Hydro character? I think with Navia and Fav we use you, and then we can save Farina and Xingqiu for the later stages, maybe put in random Ganyu, and I mean, we'll be solid here. But if you don't have Zhongli, if you take a look at how much he removes of the shield, compared to a lot of other characters, it's quite a lot. And then Shiori, doesn't matter that we don't have another character to do a Geo construct here. Now we just use Navia's burst, get this down, hold to absorb, and there we go, 380,000. Absorb more crystallize, 393,000. And one more for the road. Then we'll restart this because it's going to get its shield back again. Oh, it was too far.
Order
Blah.
guide you.
That was a lot of potential damage to the shield that we missed, but that's okay. Now, here we are. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Umbrella Warfare! Gunbrella go. Alright. Now we got Shalonen or Rosaria. Shalonen's going to be my pick. More Res Shred. Now we got Geo Cryo. This is going to be useful because we'll just bring Ganyu here. Periodically deals this AoE Geo damage once every 4 seconds. When Cryo or Geo character deals critical hits, Ice Shard once every 2 seconds. Well, let's take this. Triggers more often. And we can get Cryo or Geo. Now we've got either Stone-Eyed Lava Churl, which Geo would have a lot of advantage against these guys. We've got the Ruin Graders and Ruin Guards, which are also really big targets, or these. So we don't really want anything that has a lot of elemental effects. We'd rather fight these two. And honestly, this is looking like the much easier choice. We can ignore the Ruin Cruisers and Chasers because this is to defeat the bounty enemies, aka the ones that have the little exclamation points here. And they're really big targets. So we're going to go for there. We're going to use Navia. We don't even need like Vent here. We're going to do Navia, probably Navia, Zhongli, Escoffier, Jingzhou. We could even try to use an Escoffier team with like Kaya. I don't have enough that I want to use there, so I don't think I'm going to use that. Though we could even just do this, which would be a very good Navia team, and then yeah, we don't even need Zhongli. So sure, let's run this. There we go, and we do a little kick and another kick, and then let's get some Res Shred, some Navia. I should have done that first, but it doesn't really matter. Absorb! Blam. Alright, there's one down. Second one. Big shards. Alright, third one. We just run over here. Oh, it's running towards us. Well, cannon. Now, kick for some Res Shred. Jingzhou. Navia's full. And blam. Navia cannon. Next, Chongyun or Diona, it doesn't matter. We've got a good team for the next round anyways. We're going to fight the secret source boss, and now we just use the rest of our Fantasia and try to get as many buffs as we can. So there we go. We're going to use a Nuvolette team here, so we want the Hydro as much as we can. So this is actually good because we're going to do Nuvi Shalonen stuff. 8 seconds after this hits opponent, Geo Hydro Res decreased by 20%. That's pretty good, but I like the 2 additional strikes here. That's gonna be fun. We have enough for this too. And are you running? Maybe we'll just use random Ganyu here. At this point though, why don't we re-roll to see if we get a blessing or something that we like. We've gotten things that are pretty favorable, but we have a few re-rolls here. Free mystery cash. Ooh. I want the maximum freeze though. Deal 50% increased cryo damage, 50% increased hydro damage. There we go. That's what I want. And we can't do anything else here. So now we fight the secret source boss. Now we have a Shalonen here for the pillars. It probably won't matter. We're probably going to break this thing so fast that we won't really need to do that. But we'll use you and then just a random Escoffier. Sure. We get all the bonuses because we get Cryo, Hydro, and Geo, so all of our bonuses activated. We'll put this up. Here you go. Random coffee. Just Nuvolette stuff now. 141,000 damage per tick. So yeah, here we go. Here's our victory lap. Bloop. And so it hasn't even gotten to the point where it's going to put up its little pillars and it's already dead. And there we are. There's the Imaginarium Theater. So there's the run through of everything step by step, so you can see my thinking of how I did everything. Use those tips we talked about in the beginning of the video. And now you've got a successful roadmap for a very tricky, very annoying Imaginarium Theater. Let's see who did the best. Obviously, it's going to be Navia, 380,000. 393,277. Oof. Very nice. Those buffs helped her a lot. Alright. Well, I hope this helps everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay jawsome. Take care, everyone. And I can't wait to see you in the next one.